I caught my son cheating, lying about being vegan, and calling his sister's names. I finally told him he's acting like an asshole. But now I'm wondering if I am one too. Am I the asshole for calling my son an asshole? I, 34F, have been with my wonderful husband, 46M, for just over 7 years. My husband and I each brought 2 children with us to the relationship. He brought his son Dale, 20M, and his daughter Jasmine, 17F, and I brought my son Jake, 16M, and my daughter Lucy, 15F. We've had 2 more daughters together, 5F, 3F. My stepdaughter, Jasmine, has been absolutely wonderful. She's a great kid, and she's a very high achiever. She does a lot of the cooking around the house, she's a great cook, and she actually even wants to go to culinary school. Her father wants her to go to normal college first and get a sensible degree, but that's a discussion for them to have. Most relevantly, she regularly cooks and bakes, and about once a week she'll even cook up some sort of special menu or meal she's been studying/fascinated with. Everyone in the household gets along very harmoniously, with the exception of my son Jake. Jake has always been a problem, even when it was just me, him, and Lucy, and he's always refused to get along with his stepfather and step-siblings. Jake's bio dad, 38M, was always a macho alpha male type, and he's only gotten worse over the years, becoming a conservative misogynist. His influence has been terrible on Jake in particular, getting him into manosphere-type BS. Jake's biological father literally thinks that men have a biological imperative to cheat and that the best way for men to interact with women is mind games, lying, and manipulation. It felt like escaping from jail when I finally broke up with him. Even before she was 9 years old, Lucy would pretty much throw a fit and have to be dragged to go stay with her dad, to the point where it wasn't worth it for him to bother trying to have her even during his custody time, but Jake has always looked up to him. Jake's dad clearly never cared much about Lucy anyway, so for years Jake has been the only one who spends any real time with him. That brings us to now. Somehow, Jake managed to start dating one of Lucy's friends. My evening got interrupted with her arguing with him about how her friend caught him cheating, kissing, and texting with another girl. They were yelling at each other to the point where you could hear them from across the house. I went over to them, and I had each of them explain their side of the story. Lucy said her friend found out. Jake denied everything. So, I told Jake to show me his phone. He said he didn't think women should check guys' phones, and I told him yeah, that would be great if I was his girlfriend, but I'm not his girlfriend, I'm his mom's, so give me the phone. And then right on the phone was proof about how he'd been talking to this other girl. Lucy got smug with Jake, and he started trying to yell at her about how it was none of her business, to the point that he was even ignoring me, so I just leaned against the wall. I screenshotted the conversations, and I sent them to Lucy's friend, telling her that this was Jake's mom. And then I screenshot the last bit of that and sent it to the other girl, also telling her that this was Jake's mom. Jake was still trying to argue with Lucy, so I grabbed him by the shoulder and I gave him back his phone with a simple, "Here you go." He looked at it and he freaked out and he started trying to rant at me, but I waited for him to pause and then I simply asked him if he was done or if he wanted an actual punishment. He fucked off to his room. That was it for the night, but not for the week. Jasmine has been planning a special meal plus dessert she wanted to try making, and one morning I found Jake complaining to her that he was turning over a new leaf and becoming vegan, and that she needed to make the meal vegan for him. Obviously, this was not even slightly believable and Jasmine didn't believe it either. But he just kept trying to argue and plead and emotionally blackmail her to the point that she finally agreed to adjust the recipes to be vegan. I asked him if he still thought vegans had low testosterone, and he lied and said he had just read a study where it said vegans had higher testosterone. I don't know what any studies say about vegans' testosterone, but he definitely didn't read any. Jake seemed smug with himself when Jasmine started looking up information. Later, after a long day at work, I was picking up Jake, and I decided to just get some burgers for dinner. I was texting the family to see what anyone wanted, and Jake, who was in the car with me, just told me he wanted a cheeseburger and fries or whatever. I asked him if I should get him something vegan instead, and he literally just said, "No."
Fuck. Why?
Because he had apparently forgotten his fucking lie from earlier. I texted Jasmine that Jake was not vegan and that she should go ahead and make the meal however she wanted, and it was only then that Jake said, "Oh shit," and got mad at me. Apparently a bunch of girls at school are mad at him, Go figure, mostly Lucy's friends or people who know the other girl. He's jealous that my husband gave Jasmine his old car when he upgraded, and he thinks it's unfair that he doesn't get to drive it. He's jealous that Dale is constantly getting money sent to him and just got a new computer. Dale is out of state most of the year with a scholarship at an extremely prestigious university, and obviously his father, and I couldn't be prouder of him. We're glad to help support him. Jake thinks that we show favoritism to the girls, even though Jasmine is a literal straight A student who constantly helps around the house and cooks professional quality meals of one sort or another almost every other day. Lucy gets very good grades, and she's always warm and friendly with her stepfather, having basically embraced him as her dad. Lucy and Jasmine both help babysit their little sisters whenever we need it or even just because, and neither of them goes around constantly getting into fights with people. Even the little ones are calmer and more interested in everyone getting along. Jake's grades are terrible. He's constantly picking fights with his sisters. He used to pick fights with Dale when Dale lived at home full-time, and he's rude to his stepfather. As soon as I got engaged to her father, Jasmine literally asked if it would make me feel nice if she called me mom. When I said yes, she just agreed and did. Even Dale did the same, probably just because he's so polite. Jake calls his stepfather by his first name to his face, and we've both caught him calling his stepfather other things like cuck and libdirt. He's called Dale the same and soy boy. I tried my best to stay calm and explain to Jake how things might go better for him if he got his act together. Then he said, and I quote, "I'm sorry I'm not a stuck-up cunt like Jasmine or an ass-kissing bitch like Lucy. You always take their side because women are like the mafia." I'll admit, I lost my shit. I yelled at Jake and I asked him if Dale, who he was always picking fights with, was a woman, and I asked him if my husband was a woman. I asked him if all of his teachers, even the male ones, are women. I told him, maybe the reason everyone has a problem with you is because you're the problem. Maybe you need to stop being a little fucking asshole instead of pretending everybody else is wrong. Maybe you shouldn't date your sister's friend just to fuck with her and then cheat on her like a dumb shit. I didn't raise you to fucking gaslight your sister and lie about being a vegan. Maybe you shouldn't be disrespecting your stepfather, the man whose house you live in, and trying to act like some kind of high-value alpha male when you're an unemployed child begging your mom for a car. Jesus fucking Christ. I felt hot, and I felt bad about blowing up. We were both quiet for a moment before my phone buzzed and our order was ready. I went in and got the food, and Jake was quiet on the way home. I told him that I'm his mom and that I love him, but that he needs to shape up. When we got home, he took his food and went to go eat in his room. Jasmine made a remark about him not being vegan anymore, but I told her to let it rest before she really laid into him, and she did. Jake's been giving me the silent treatment for a couple of days now, and he hasn't really been talking to his sisters either. I've talked to my husband, my best friend, 39F, and my mom. My husband thinks I was being a little harsh, but basically fair. It's a testament to his patience and composure that he's never really gotten into it with Jake. Jake has baited him and given him reasons more than enough times over the years. He's a fantastic dad and all the other kids love him. My best friend was kind of shocked, and she said she'd never talked to her kids that way, but her kids are very different. Both of her sons, 13, 17, are honor roll students. They're polite, friendly, and helpful. She came over with them to help paint, and they painted more than Jake did. I really fucking hate my ex. My mom blames him too. It was a mistake for the court to give him even partial custody because all he wanted to do is raise a clone of himself. I'm torn between feeling like I was too hard on Jake and knowing that I told him the truth. I love Jake, but he was way over the line. I wish I hadn't been in a situation where I needed to tell my son he's an asshole in the first place. Ida?